You my favorite jam recipe ever. It's called mango jam, and I'm gonna be making a double batch. I'm making some of these up for that's just part of the gift for my midwife and her assistant. Let me show you what you need. All right, so what you will need are 5 mangoes, and I believe that's about 8 pounds, so 5 large mangoes. I'm doubling it, so that's what is more here. You'll need 3 Granny Smith apples, 3 small ones. I didn't have Granny Smith apples. I'm using Macintosh. That'll be what gives us the pectin. You will need about 2 cups of sugar, and lastly, 1/3 cup of strained lime juice. And then the recipe also calls for an extra 3 tablespoons of strained lemon juice, but I just add extra lime juice. Okay, so the next step is to pit and peel and slice your mango. I'm using a mango slicer. And normally I don't fall for these gadgety type things, but for mangoes, this actually makes it super easy to core and peel your mangoes. So after I've pitted it, I'm using a ceramic knife, which is really sharp. A regular knife would be fine. If you do use ceramic, just be careful, because I've gotten a little deep with this one because it's sharper than it looks. So just thinly slice, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to get all mushed up into jam anyway. This just makes it easier consistency wise for cooking. So slice it thinly, and then what I do is I'm taking a spoon and scoop it out of the skin into your bowl. And then if there's anything left over, I just scrape that out and put it in there with the rest, because it's all gonna get cooked together anyway. And then if you're composting, you can set that aside. What it should look like, just little thin strips of mango. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but so that's the first step. Okay, so for the next step, what you're gonna do is you core and quarter your apples. And then you're going to want to set the seeds and the cores aside. We actually ended up peeling our apples, but you do not need to peel them. So if you have like a jelly bag, this is what you would put the trimmings in. If you don't have a jelly bag, which we didn't, what we're doing is we're taking a cheesecloth and make sure it has at least 4 layers, and that's where you'll put the cores. So yep, so then see here, now what we're doing is cutting out the inside of the apple to add over there with all of the trimmings. So we'll have the skin over there and the core, and then what we'll be left with over here are the quartered apples. Okay, so now that we have all of our apple trimmings, we're taking this cheesecloth and we are just tie it up like that, just so everything stays in the bag. If you're using a cheesecloth, you want to use probably about 4 layers or so. And then just tie it off like so. And that'll make sure we don't get any, we'll be able to get the pectin from all of the trimmings, but we won't, have seeds and everything in the jam. So that's that step. Apples are over there, and then we've got our mangoes over here. And what we're doing now is we are getting our water ready to, we're boiling the water to be able to, sanitize all of the jars. Okay, so next thing you want to do is take a plate and put it in your freezer. We're going to use this later to just check the consistency of the jam. So pop a plate in your freezer. Okay, so next what you do is you take your limes and you squeeze them and strain them. And the recipe calls for about a third of a cup. And it looks like we're a little bit short, so we're just gonna throw in an orange, and that shouldn't really make a difference. If you wanna use a lemon, lemon's fine. I don't think we have any lemon, do we? No, yeah. So we're gonna probably throw in an orange to make up for the difference. But yeah, so squeeze your lime juice, unless if you already have it squeezed, that would, you know, save on some time. And a third of a cup is what you're going for. Okay, so the next step is to sterilize the jars. We have a big canning pot here and boiling water, and you just go ahead and lower all of your jars in. And we have all the lids separate. We're gonna be sterilizing those separately. Just gently drop them all in there. And you don't have to use this tool, but it really is, it's very useful. You can find it if you go to your grocery store. I think a lot of times they have this kind of your canning supplies in like the baking aisle or somewhere around there. And so that's what we do here. So the next thing we do is you get a large pot and you put your mango, all of your mango in there. 2 cups of sugar. We're doubling the recipe, so that's 4 cups there. And then you put your cored and quartered apples. Your lime juice. And the bag. It's gonna fit. I think I need to stir. Okay, so this pot was not big enough. What you want to do is put all your ingredients, the mango, the apple, sugar, the lime juice, put them all in a large pot. And then add your bag of trimmings. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring this to a simmer. Hey guys, so I just wanted to show you how much more liquidy it looks now. It's not quite simmering yet, but let me show you where we're at so far. So you see here now, it's a lot more liquidy. We've got, there's our bag right there, but it's heating up. Once it starts simmering, we're gonna stir it pretty consistently. And over here, I still have my jars that are being sanitized. Okay, so now it's definitely simmering in there. And what we're gonna do is just keep stirring it pretty regularly, and probably, normally it's about 20 minutes or so. We're just going to keep stirring it. It'll get mushier, and then once that happens, what we're going to do is take a little dollop and put it on that plate that we put in the freezer to start checking the consistency. But for now, what I'm going to do is just keep stirring it pretty regularly for about approximately 20 minutes. Okay, so now if you want to look at what we have here, it's been simmering for about 20 minutes. And I'm going to check the consistency. You can see a lot of the mango is broken down. There's still some chunks in there though. So I took my plate out of the freezer. And I'm just going to get like a little sample here. And I'm going to return it to the freezer for about a minute. Okay, so it's been about a minute. I'm going to grab my plate out of the freezer. And let's see if I can get it to focus better. What I'm looking for is, I just want to see that it's gelled up a little bit. Don't want it to be too watery. Just moving my plate around to see how fast it, because it's not going to be firm completely, it should just be gelled up. Tastes really good. I think it needs it just a touch longer. All right, so just a little bit longer. So I'm going to return this to the freezer, let this cook a little bit longer, and then I'm going to do check the consistency again. Okay, so I just cooked it for another 5 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and sample the consistency. I have my plate and a spoon. Alright, so I'm going to pop that back in the freezer and see how it looks. Okay, so a minute's gone by and I just took it out of the freezer, and it looks like it's gelling up pretty well. Looks like it's pretty good. So we're going to go ahead and say that this has been cooked long enough. I probably cooked it for more than 20 minutes. I think I ended up cooking it for about 35 minutes or so. Okay, so I'm going to turn off the heat, and then we're going to go on to the next step. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going to take the jars out of the boiling water and set them over on a towel. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I've removed the jam from the heat, and I'm going to go ahead and separate out the chunks of apple, as well as the cheesecloth, since we were just cooking the mango jam with the apples and apple trimming to get the pectin out of the apple. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and meanwhile David is removing the jars from the water bath, and he's putting them here on just like a folded up towel. Okay, so I've gone and I've separated out all of the apples and set them aside. And I also took out the cheesecloth full of the apple trimmings, but don't throw away the apples. They're really good. They have lots of they've been cooking in mango syrup, so really delicious. So next step, we're going to go ahead and ladle the jam into the jars. Helps if you have a funnel, and you want to try to get it about maybe a 1/4 inch from the top. Looks pretty good, like that. So I'm going to go ahead and ladle all of the jam now. Okay, so we got all of our jars filled. We had a little bit extra, so we sanitized this bigger jar here. And then you can take a little damp paper towel and go around the rim if there's any, spilling or anything like that. And I forgot to show this step. What we had done is we took all the lids and we ladled the boiling water from the pot where we were sanitizing the jars, and so that's how we sanitized the lids. And so now that's actually really hot. Okay, so now we're gonna move the bowl of lids over and show you how you put the lids. It helps if you have one of these. It's basically like has a magnet on the end. I'll show you how it works. You can get this we just picked it up at the grocery store. So, all right. So you take the lid out of the boiling water and just pop it on top. So this makes it really easy. I highly recommend getting one of these. They're super cheap too. Okay, so then you want to go ahead and put all the rings on. You don't want to screw them on too tightly, because you want it to still be loose enough so that the air can be released while we are canning them. Let's go ahead and put those on. Baby's moving. You're going to want to take all of these jars, put them back in the boiling water, and you want to make sure there's at least 1 inch above the jar of water, and just let them boil here for about 5 minutes at least, and then we'll come back and show you the next step. All right, so now we're removing the jars. So what we did, we ended up boiling them for 10 minutes with the lid on it. And this is a full rolling boil you want to have. And this is what helps preserve them. So what we're going to do is you take it out and put it on a towel. Oh, that one's already popped. And so what'll happen is you'll hear the cans popping, and you'll want to check. How long does it normally take? Like half hour. Check it. Well, they're already popping. And what you want to do is probably, I would say, give it about a half hour and then check them. And you want to make sure that the top of the lid there, it's sealed down. You can't. When you push on the top of the lid, it shouldn't click at all. And if it does, it's okay, you can still eat it, but what you want to do is go ahead and put that jar in the refrigerator and eat it within a month. But as long as they all pop and you hear that popping noise, and then you can touch the top of the lid and it's firm and there's no, air pocket or anything like that, then you've successfully canned all of your jam, and you can just go ahead and store it at room temperature. And what you do, once these jars have cooled down, we're gonna go ahead and label them all. But that is how you make mango jam. They are already starting to pop. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. But I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. It's my favorite jam personally. And yeah, so all right, have a good one, bye.